Thank you. That was very generous, whoever introduced me. Let me tell you, this was not my effort alone. Many people who are involved in FEM together got it up to that extent. Actually, it was not for us, but for the future of FEM that we sold. The brand was more than what we expected. It was growing at such a height. And we thought that if FEM has to become bigger and bigger, it needed to get married to someone great. So, like a typical woman who wants to marry off her daughters, I married FEM to Dabur. And I'm sure it has grown from strength to strength post that. Actually, as mentioned by the person who introduced me, I am a person who did all the marketing, sales, advertising, promotions, distribution, and exports. So I knew very little of manufacturing because my brother took care of it. And while he dealt with all the excise and the labor and everything, I had to deal with sales, actual sales. And believe me, when we came out with a bleach in 1982, there was no one who knew what a bleach was because it was an innovative product. It was the first time in India. It was a product which was known abroad, but no one knew in India. So we had these people sitting on big gaddis, the wholesalers as we call them, and they said, "Kapde ka bleach hai, ya floor ka bleach hai, ya kiska bleach hai, kaisa bleach hai?" So to educate people, to make them know that this is a bleach which lightens facial hair to merge with the skin so that the girl feels more confident without using external cosmetics was a big task. And that is the task we undertook for 27 years before we married FEM. Okay, so now I was on a lookout for another company I wanted to grow. Indian markets, I've been there, seen them. I have been to rurals, I have been to urban, semi-urban, urban, towns, cities, everywhere throughout India for my distribution. I have wooed all the retailers, I have explained our products to even the minority women, on the Adivasi women. I have gone in print media, in film media, and everything that could happen. And now I want to go bigger. So I said, I cannot just plunge into something big without knowing the roots. And I was very good in cosmetics, and I was good at fairness. And I believe that every woman needs to take care of the toning of her face, needs to take care of herself so that she feels confident, she feels beautiful, and the more confident and beautiful she feels, she will vibrate the whole world with it. Especially her house, she'll be a happier person, she will bring up happy children, and the whole thing goes on. So I concentrate on the women because I feel they are the pillar from where everything starts. So I feel they are the pillar in the house, I feel they are a pillar in wherever they go, and the children who they are nurturing will see her as an example. So to do that, she needs to look and feel very good about herself. And I'm concentrating only on this one aspect. So I was looking out for something to suit this attitude and mentality. And I got into brought into a company based out of Miami, which is also into fairness and all kinds of skin products, problem skins, non-problem skins, etc. It is a small company, 6-7 million, and this was the right time to get it. I thought this is the time when America was at its low. In 2008 came the biggest crash in America. So I thought nothing could be worse than this. So it's better that I go from here and then work my way up rather than get something and then see the downfall, you know. So I bought into this company not knowing anything about the working there, about the markets there, about how competition works, here we are used to salespeople, we are used to about 20 salespeople in each territory covered by a sales manager, branch manager, distributor, wholesaler, retailer, all kinds of chains, etc. I go there, and this 6.5 million company has only 4 employees. They have somebody sitting up there as a receptionist. They have one person for the accounts. They have one person to do the marketing. They have one person who does all the jing-jang on the computer. That is printing up posters, doing the ads, changing the artworks, and also e-commerce, selling stuff through internet, everything. So these 4 people run the company, while here we had a staff of 50 doing the same thing, but in a bigger way. So I was wondering, how do they manage it? For 1 month, I just observed them. There was nobody to bring tea to your cabin. There was nobody to give you tea when you entered the office. There was a tea center somewhere there. You had to go and make your own cup of tea if you wanted one, or coffee if you wanted one. The person who was managing the receptionist doubled up to get the stocks from the warehouse. They call it a warehouse, not a go down. From the warehouse, they would give it. They were brokers who came to our office and broked for the business. You know, you had to give them territories, and they were brokers who took it forward. But there are no price constraints over there. Here you have an MRP, which is retail price, which is constant through all retail. There you do not have a constant. In fact, Macy's can sell the same product at $10, and another store can sell the same products at $7. No one will ask you why you did it. It is the person's prerogative where he wants to buy it for and how much he intends to pay for it. That much is the freedom given over there. So all these things were different. They have a lot of e-filing. They do not have files in the office. Yeah, thank you. No. I'm used to doing my own work now. So they do not have files. Everything is filed on the cloud or somewhere else. Backups are taken at the end of the day and stored somewhere else. So this system, I took just 1 month just to absorb all this, because I've never worked in a I had my secretary, I had my branch manager coming to me, I had all different area managers reporting to me. Nothing like that. We sat in a conference room, I remember the first time, and then I said, how much is the sale? Nobody spoke. They sent me an Excel sheet. So everybody had their computers open, so I also had my computer open. So I had to open the Excel sheet and read, okay, how much stock do we have left? They sent it like that. Where is your trademark registration? That also they had it on the computer. So it's a different way of working, and I think India now is getting there. Actually, I was speaking to someone who came to pick me up from my hotel, and I was so impressed that she did everything on cloud. She was so good in software. And this was new to me when I went to America, but now it's been a part of me. You come across products from all over the world. You are flabbergasted at the amount of detailing that goes into making a product. All this time, I thought it was advertising that sold the product. It was good distribution that sold the product. It was good PR that sold the product. It was demonstrations that sold the product. But ultimately, I have gone to realize that the product itself has to be par excellence to be sold in the global markets. Now, what do I mean by that? You have to make the product with global view in mind. If you are not exposed to the global markets, please go and get yourself exposed. It is the only way. There are no shortcuts. You cannot sit in your factories or in your workshops or in your office and look in the internet and see the products there and try and copy them. No. You have to actually look, feel the product, open it, See the ease of operations, see how the screws are opening, see how user-friendly the product is, see how it is presented, see how it is displayed, see the materials that are used in it, and then you will know that this product is worth the shelf. We have constraints in India. We can do this. We cannot screen print on jars. We cannot screen print on tubes. We cannot have 4-color printing. All that is passé. Now, you can get everything done. And if you don't, this is your chance to start a unit which does it. I am looking for someone who is printing on jars, screen printing. I am not finding a good printer. So there are niches which you can start as an entrepreneur, which can go a long way into manufacturing of globally accepted products, which will include the inks that you use here, the kind of colors that they see over there, the kind of classy paper that they use there. Everything can be done in India. I believe we are the best, not even second best. We are the best. And when we go there, you see, oh my God, these people cannot add without a calculator. These people cannot talk without the computer. These people cannot ad hoc give me how much the stock is remaining in their warehouse without looking at the Excel sheet. And these people are leading the world. Then, my people who used to be counting, who used to give me daily information verbally, are so much better. Without any computers, they could add, they could do so many things. We are the best. We are the best. Please realize that and do it and go for it. I feel one should not start only in India. When you start manufacturing, you bear in mind that you have to market it to the world. Give that standard in India itself. Tomorrow, they are going to invade us. They are going to come here. They're going to sit next to you on the shelf. They're going to be competing with you in the market. They're going to tell your clients that this is better because it's made in America, or made in France, or made in Germany. Before that happens, you have to tell them that my product is sold to Germany. It is sold to America. It is sold to US. It is sold to London. And therefore, you buy it. And it is none second to none. It is accepted by them. And therefore, it is about time that you accept it here. People have different lifestyle over there. People are very conscious about their grooming, about the way they look, the way they talk, the way they behave, the attitudes towards people, the respect that they give their employees are something to imbibe. You have to come to that level. Your whole mindset and attitude has to change. Now I am bringing in cosmetics made in France. I'm learning French. Not to talk. I know I'm not going to be that good to talk, but to know what they're talking amongst themselves when I discuss. At least I should know the numbers, the figures, the business terms that people use before I enter France. You have to equip yourself. You have to be thinking global. You have to not, I always think that Indian women are inherently beautiful. They need grooming. They need presentation. They need to bring out the best in them. They need to feel confident. They need to feel next to nobody. They have to be the best. And that can happen only when you are good at the language. You have to accept, I'm sorry, but you have to accept that English is the global language today. At least you can get by. Not in Germany, but there are interpreters. But you need to know, you need to polish, you need to groom yourself, and you need to be there where they do it. Okay? So more than business manufacturing, more than the factory requirements, you need to first bring yourself to a global standard. Once you do that, once you get there, once you know what people, how they behave, how they treat their employees, You need to be exposed to that environment. And then once you get there, then you can sell your business. I am sorry, but there are no shortcuts, except, of course, IT industry, software industry has gone on without all this, without you being that kind, because they have been giving us work here. But somewhere I feel, why should we take on work? Why should we be the back office? Why should we be a BPO? Why not be in the forefront? Why should we do what they ask us to do in software, work through the night and give them in the day? No. We need to be there. We need to collaborate. We need them as our partners. I need to stand next to an American when we sell our product over there. I need to be accepted as an Indian who is has a successful American business. And why not? I need to be dressed in a sari, sitting over there and selling to Americans. That is my ego. That is my kick in life. Believe me, when I went to Atlanta, we went to a restaurant, which was an Indian restaurant. It was called Bhojanik. They called it Bhojanik. I was impressed. Okay, I went there, you got authentic Indian food. But the waiters, the person on the front desk, and everybody was foreigners. Only the chefs in the kitchen were Indians. And believe me, that place was full of foreigners. I got such a kick. I said, my God, our food with all its spices, with all its pungent, sours, hot spices is getting accepted so well. These are our way to their hearts through our food, through Bollywood, through software, through our expertise. Only we need not to feel less confident. And for that, we need grooming. I'm sorry, my subject is cosmetics. My subject is grooming. My subject is to get the Indian ladies at par with the global competition. So I think the best way to go about it is first, feel that you're global. Feel that you are up to their standards in everything. Match them in their attitudes, in their mannerisms, in their manners, in their proficiency, in their efficiency, in their discipline, and then go to globalize your companies. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I ask Amar to please coordinate the question answer session.
Yeah, I'm ready to answer all the questions. Anybody wanting to know anything about American markets, here I am.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Yeah.
This is the first question. What was the key success factor in building your brand FemCare?
Yeah, actually, Fem was a niche product. We started with the niche products. Of course, we had a lot of products by the time we sold, but we had a niche product which was for the women, which camouflage the facial hair to skin color so nobody could make out that they had hair on the face. Now, we are a race which has hair on the face. Chinese do not, thank God, otherwise they would have annihilated us. But we had to do something about it. And short of taking it out and doing something, people had to just go in for a bleach. So it was a big success because along with bleaching the hair on the face, the skin under the hair also got bleached 2-3 shades lighter. So people started looking fairer instantly in 15 minutes. And the caption was, "Bas 15 minute mein gori gori." So that did it, and everybody bought it. And that was, that we did not have enough manufacturing capacity. The way the demand took off, there wasn't enough manufacturing capacity. We had to go to Nashik. We had to make a big factory there, and ultimately go to Baddi at Himachal and make a huge factory there to complete the demands. So it was so good. But it had very restrictive export export capabilities, except in the UAE where the skins are like ours. But in America and all, nobody really needed them. So I wasn't exposed to the global markets. I was just exposed to Middle East and a little bit of Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, things like people who had our skin tones and our problems. So it was a very restrictive cosmetic to get into. But then we started with anti-aging cream and we started with hair removing cream, etc., which gave us a better scope. But still we were too India-centric and too India-concentrating. Today I advise you people, along with India, go export. So you get the experience of what you lack and what you don't in India itself. Then you can fine-tune the product as you go along so that you get a global product in India and abroad. Any other question?
Hello. There is one more question, ma'am. You said you started and built this brand from scratch.
Correct.
And then after 25 years, you could see this brand growing and touching great heights. And then you had this question whether to sell the company or to build the brand further. And how did you decide to sell the brand?
Yeah,
And the
what
product.
happened was the kind of, I was next to, I had liquid soaps also, which were Femme liquid soaps. I was next to Hindustan Levers, I was next to Reckitt Benckiser. In hair removing creams, I was next to Wheat, I was next to Anne. So I was next to all multinationals. And they had a policy of capturing the retail market. You know, if you go to a retail counter, there was 50% with Hindustan Lever, P&G, Reckitt Benckiser, and all sorts of things, you know, and a minimum of say 20-25% which was shared between Anne French and Femme and, you know, the Indian companies, etc. So we had such a tough time because the amount of money that they could pay to the organized retail and on the shelf was tremendous. For their volume of turnover, it was not. But for our volume of turnover, it became prohibitively expensive to cater to the same shop space, paying the kind of money we could afford versus what they could afford. This went in everything, prime time television, where there was a slot of say 5 minutes or 3 minutes given to ads. Most of the ads were purchased by these bigwigs. I used to tell the advertising agency, why do you even bother visiting us? Your time is sold off between Hindustan Levers, P&G, Olay, this, that. You don't have time left for smaller agencies. Then in the smaller agencies, you have the Moves and you have the Amritanchans and you have the rest, you know, and you have Femme. So that, you need some giant to fight this giant. You can grow up to a certain extent. Then you need muscle. Then you need not only financial muscle, you need other muscles, wherein you can give them the volumes that they get from the multinationals in your product. Ours was a niche product. Our product was used by women from 16 to 60. That's it. Where this is a niche. Most of the women in India prided themselves but to say, I don't use anything on my face. I only use chane ka atta. I don't use... These are the kind of women we have here today. To convert them, to start grooming, to start using products, to start taking care of their skin is a big challenge itself. And then most of our money was getting spent on this kind of conversions. We were having one-to-one meetings, we were having demonstrations, we were going to Mahila Mandals, we were trying to convert women. So in all this, where was the muscle left to fight advertising space? Where was the muscle left to fight television? Where was the muscle left to fight? You know, these people have vans to deliver the product directly to the organized retail. Where do we have muscle to have vans just for bleach? So that is where we were falling very badly short. And it is happening that every day The offers became very, very lucrative, and one fine day we had to succumb.
One more question. From here, why to Miami? Why not to Italy or France, which are known to be heavens for cosmetics?
Well, it just came about. We started doing some job work in our Fem factory for this Miami company, Mitchell Fair and White. We knew them, we knew the owners, we had certain kind of relationship as a manufacturer versus their marketing. And then I said, France, language problem. Italy, language problem. Miami, known people, small company, scope to grow. Okay? I couldn't go and join L'Oreal because I would be a pebble in that sea. I couldn't go and join people like Revlon, Jergens, etc. I needed to find a small company which I could grow in, I feel comfortable in, and who values my business acumen to market their products in India. So that is exactly what I'm setting out to do. My non-compete gets over in June 2014, post which I will bring the Mitchell products in India.
Yeah, one more. As was explained earlier, most of us have started our businesses from scratch and struggling.
I'm so proud of all of you.
And struggling to reach to our chosen vision. You being have a great and valuable brand, you have created this great valuable brand. We would like to know from you, what does it takes for an entrepreneur to start a company from scratch and take it to this kind of valuable brand?
That's exactly what I wanted to speak on. But they told me my topic was manufacturing strategies for global marketing. Yeah, it takes a lot of endurance. In fact, recently I was speaking at IIT Kharagpur, in which the batch who had just finished graduation were getting all kinds of lucrative MNC positions. And here they were, I was asked to speak on entrepreneurship to them. So I said it is going to be very difficult because here is someone who's offering you a cushy job with a home and a car and a club membership and what have you, and money enough for foreign holidays every year, everything. And what does entrepreneurship offer you? Nothing. No promises, nothing. You have to struggle. For the first 10 years, you don't see the light of day. Let me assure you, for those who are struggling, don't feel disheartened. The first 10 years, even with a niche product, even with the product which had a demand, even with the product which every lady liked, I couldn't even come up from the water to breathe for the first 10 years. So just forget it. Let your wife do some 9-to-5 job and get you the income, or let your husband do some 9-to-5 job and get you the income to eat and live. When you are an entrepreneur, your total passion, your total time and your total mental ability should be taken up, should be totally absorbed in that one thing. Without thinking how much money it's going to make, without thinking what I'm going to do afterwards, without even having a vision. Because all your visions go fat. Let me tell you, every year we used to make this great vision of the year and sales going to so much, then this happening, that happening. That never happens. But one fine time, we surpassed everything. All the 5 years that we have been setting ourselves targets and trying to complete them and trying to stumbling upon them and not having done that, not having completed any of our targets. But there is a turnaround, and that turnaround will just take you. It will just take you. You have to have the patience, you have to have the passion, and you have to have the love with which you do the business. And let me tell you, success is directly proportionate to this. If this is at grade 1, your success will be at grade 1.
Thank you.
And how did I start? Yes. The first batch of Fem bleach was made in my kitchen, okay? Then we used my garage. Then we had to have neighbors and everybody coming to try it. Then we had to make corrections till the formulation got perfect. This itself took 2 years, okay? But because my brother was supported by my dad and mom, and because I was supported by my husband, we did not sink in. But this happened over a period of 2 years. After that, my dad got us a gala in Andheri MIDC. At that time, I remember it was 1 lakh something in 1981. And we had a mixer and this thing and packing, hand packing only and everything. But then we used to call our workers once a week and we used to make the production into cases. And I used to go on demonstrations. I used to try the product on all the ladies present over there. Take one lady who says her skin is very, very sensitive and she's never using cosmetics. Take her as a model and bleach her first. And then take another lady who is actually bleachable. And give trials or patches on all the ladies who are in the gathering. And sell the product there and then after the demo. We used to finish selling the batch that we made in 5-10 days and then call the workers again to make the next batch with the money that we got from the sales. So it was like hand to mouth. We got the money, we could do the second batch. If we did not, we had to exhaust the second batch, and then start the third batch like that. So the workers were coming in like once in 10 days first, then they started coming in once a week as our sales got better. Then we had a few shops where we kept the product. Like suppose I gave a demonstration in one area, like Valkeshwar. I had 3 or 4 shops in that area which kept the product. So if people liked it and bought it from me the first time, I told them the second buy you can go and buy it from this shop, this shop, this shop, Or your friends can buy it from this shop, this shop, this shop in your area. That is how we started sales. The shopkeepers were not willing to keep our products merely because they didn't know the product. They didn't know what the face bleach was. They said, "Kaun bleach karega face ko? Bathroom bleach karte, kapda bleach karte, face ne bleach karte." Anyway, so we had a very tough time to explain to the retail exactly what we were and how the bleach is to be used and how the... So we had a person at the counter. He says, we cannot do all this. Rush hour mein, our staff is not free to explain to your customers. So if you want your product sold, keep a person there. So we used to keep a person, a girl at every counter where our product was available to explain, to try it out, to wash. We had a little bowl of water with sponge and we would wash. We would show her how the bleach worked, etc., etc., etc. We went through a very tough time till the product was known and accepted. Then, of course, we had enough money to make a television film. And that time, I'm kicking myself for it because that time there were only 2-3 programs which all the eyeballs used to go to. And that was Chaya Geet, Chitrahar and Hindi feature film. And there were only 3. Had we advertised at that time, the whole world would have known our bleach. But we didn't at that time. We were just gathering enough money to make a film. And then we made a film which was 5 seconds. The girl is looking in the mirror. She says, "How beautiful I am," and then the pack goes to Fem. It was so quick that it came and went without people noticing it, And I told my friends and everybody to watch that program, to see my ad and tell me how it is, etc., etc. They were sitting glued to the television. They couldn't see it. It was so fast. So it was a 5-second ad which just came and went. So we said, "Oh my God, now this is something we cannot do." So by the time we gathered enough money to make a good 30-second ad, which made history by the name of Gori Gori Fem Fem Se Gori Gori, that ad, by the time it came, there were multiple channels, very expensive advertising. We lost out on the first come basis and everything. But we did it. We should have just borrowed money and done advertising at the time when there were only 3 programs which were watched. Anyway, That's one of my regrets.
Thank you, ma'am.
Over? No, with this last shot that we are best, we are the best, we are the best globally, we have to just show it to them. Just go there and show it. That's it.